Yo! Video games.
All right, what up, dudes? It's Matt here at E3, and I'm here with Corey from Treehouse, and we're talking about the hottest game of the show, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, I know a lot of you have probably seen the trailer. You've probably seen the Treehouse live event. Corey, I wanted to ask you, first off, this title, for clarification, prequel, sequel. Now, could it be before Xenoblade Chronicles 1, where maybe it was the original scientists on the space station? Or could it be possibly take place in the world created at the end of Xenoblade? Can you tell me anything about that?
I think the best way that we could really explain Xenoblade Chronicles X is, it's more of a spiritual sequel in the way that you're going to see a lot of themes from maybe Xenoblade Chronicles or the Xenosaga, where you've got like space, mechs, exploration is a huge thing. So, I think it's less about trying to connect. I think a lot of the connections are also the gameplay. You've got the arts palette, so the battle system's really similar. But, a lot of the themes, I would say, it shares.
All right, so the Xeno series is very famous for being very complex plot-wise. It likes to get into philosophy, specifically from the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. I probably mispronounced that. Maybe I can grab Pierre Schneider from IGN. Maybe he could say it right. Anyway, so now Xenoblade Chronicles X, is that going to continue the very sort of philosophical and religious overtones from the previous series?
So far we've really only gotten to share about probably like the first 30 minutes, but as I think, people can see in the trailer, it just starts out with that all-out alien warfare that's happening above the Earth where, Earth just gets caught up in the middle. We didn't really ask for this, and Earth blows up, the survivors make it out, some survivors make it out just in time, crash land on this unknown planet, Mira. And, I think those themes that you talked about, we can kind of see hints of that in the trailer already, just from some of the characters we don't know much about, some of the alien characters, human characters. So I think fans of Xenoblade Chronicles are going to see a lot of those themes return.
All right, cool. So now in this game, you do not have a specifically named player one character. Like he's a created character, right. And you can create a male or a female. Now, are they a silent protagonist as far as you've seen in the first area, or do they actually have any lines, or do you have any dialogue tree boxes that ever come up? Like someone asks you a question and you get like yes or no answers or whatever.
Yeah, thus far we haven't seen the voices, but, this is the very first time we're showing the game, so I'm not sure what the final, spec will be in terms of that. But like you mentioned with customization, you will be able to customize your face, things like add tattoos, scars, plenty of customization options for your character. But
okay, so in the first two trailers that we saw basically a multiplayer component. So, player one, player two, whatever. Is there anything that they specified as far as any sort of multiplayer at all yet?
Not quite yet. Again, right now, the game does have a 2015 release date, so we still have lots of information that we're hoping to share soon about the title. But no answer quite yet.
Okay, so in the Treehouse demo, we saw that you went up to a weather machine, and you could change the time of day and weather, or maybe just day. Now, in Xenoblade, you just opened a menu, and you can do that at any time. In Xenoblade Chronicles, do you have to go to the weather station, or the time, whatever, day of night station, and use that to change the time of day?
Thus far, that is correct. So you would go up to one of those. Like you said, you can change the time of day. The weather will change, but that's not something that you can necessarily determine. That might be just a random occurrence. You change it to 2 p.m. Maybe it's rainy, maybe it's sunny. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So because the game uses such large maps, there was a sort of, I guess you could say, warp waypoint system. Now, we saw, like, when the player character would say jump to a new area, it would say new area discovered. Right. Do you know if you're able to, like, basically hot warp between areas you've already been to on that big map you've shown so far?
We haven't seen that yet, but, as you know, with having played Xenoblade Chronicles, the world is absolutely massive. So, players can definitely expect to be able to get to places quickly without having to just, trek all the way over. I should say as well that one thing we didn't see a lot of in the gameplay, or we didn't see at all in gameplay, is the mechs as well that you'll be able to use to fly a little bit as well. So there might be some places that you see that are inaccessible. Maybe you need the mech to be able to access or something like that.
Which brings me to my next question. Now, in the gameplay snippet we got in, I believe, March or February of this year, I think it was February, in the Nintendo Direct, it was just basically a snippet of the battle system, and we saw what looked like the character more or less summoned his mechs, and then he hopped in and his player, the party members jumped in their own mechs. Now, are the mechs, or dolls as they've been referred to as in previous trailers, are they something you summon at will, or are they like scattered in the environment and you just find them and can climb in them on your own?
I think we'll learn more kind of once you get to the first place in the game. You'll learn more about how the mechs come into play. Now, the first 30 minutes of the game, as you saw on Treehouse Live, is kind of getting to your, one of the bases. It's New Los Angeles, the ship that crashes. It's kind of where a little bit of civilization, human civilization's living. Once you get there, you'll find the military, you have like a military faction and all of that. You'll learn more about kind of how those mechs function. I know in that video I think you're referring to, you can kind of see you just walking up to a mech, you hop in it, then you can like hop out of it, something like that. But I don't know if you will ever necessarily just come up upon mechs or kind of how that will work completely quite yet.
Now, from what you've seen, with again, just one last thing on the mechs. In the first trailer, it looked like their fuel was like constantly draining no matter what they were doing. However, in the more recent gameplay snippets, like it seemed to be different. What took away the fuel for the mech? Do you know anything about how the fuel mechanics on mechs work yet?
Unfortunately, I have only been able to play the first 30 minutes. I can't wait to get my hands on more. So I honestly actually just don't know that one yet.
Okay, so now this game is, like as we've said, massive in scale and scope. Now, the first game was one of the very rare dual-layer Wii DVD discs because it had dual audio. Has any discussion or thought process been behind whether to have dual audio in this release, or maybe are we going to be basically looking at one language track?
I don't have any insights into that quite yet, but as soon as we do, we'll definitely love to share that info.
Okay, so this is going to be kind of like a more fan-based question. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X features a rising star of anime music composer, Hiroyuki Sawano. And he's very famous for his work on Attack on Titan and other big animes as well. Do you know if he is... Now, it was announced he was the composer in the very first trailer. Now, do you know if he's composing everything? Or is he more just kind of like, I'm writing the song, I'm writing this, just one theme or whatever?
Unfortunately, I do not have insight into that, but I would really love to know the answer to that one as well myself, because the music in the original is great. The music that I've heard from Xenoblade Chronicles X is also amazing, so I can't wait to hear more myself.
Now, for the battle system, it looks like you can basically switch between weapon types on the fly. Now, in the first game, characters were basically... They were class-based almost. Like, their class used this weapon. Ryan used a big shield-looking item. Charla used a big gun. Ricky had his, mage wands and whatever. And Shulk had Minato, of course. In this game, it looks like you're not stuck to a particular weapon or class system. Like, can you go in any detail on how that might work?
I can definitely say that you will have the ability to change classes. And one unique thing about the battle system now is that you can change from a melee weapon to a ranged weapon on the fly. So, in the Treehouse Live video, for example, we saw changing from the rifle to the knife, just getting up close. And you can earn TP. You might earn more TP that can help you use some of your arts by going in there for a quick melee attack, because that puts you at more risk, usually being closer to an enemy. So that is one change in the battle system. One other thing I actually wanted to mention about the battle system is we're used to seeing the cooldown effect. When you use an art, you can't cast it again until it's been cooled down. A new feature in Xenoblade Chronicles X is once that cools down completely, you can actually see it cool down essentially again. And if you wait and don't use it, for those 2 full cycles, these arts have the ability to have like some type of bonus effect. So for the shield, you might be able to use it twice in a row, but for like a fire burst, maybe that gives you extra damage.
All right, very cool. Now you can target. And I saw on the treehouse thing, you can target individual enemy parts now. We saw that in the first trailer actually, and a lot of people got a little confused because they thought like maybe the game was like a real-time action game, but it's an RPG. It still uses HP-based stuff. Now, where you are standing in relation to an enemy when you attack does that have any effect on how much damage you do? So in other words, if I'm standing like 10 feet away from you in game and I just swipe with a knife, like will that like miss, or will damage be lesser or greater depending on your relation to the enemy and where they are on the map?
Absolutely. So that's kind of like what you were mentioning with range. So if you have an art that, for example, is a melee-based art, you're far away, you're not going to be able to use it. You'll actually see this like red kind of crossed out sign saying, you can't use this. And then once you walk up to the creature, be it from the front or the side, it'll light up again and you're able to use that. You do also notice that you are able to target like the head, the side, or the back of the enemy, sometimes the tail, and you can just plain like I think we saw in the trailer or the Treehouse Live cutting off the tail of some of those first boss characters that you come up against in the game.
Do you know if the break and topple system from the first game's battle system is used in this one?
You will be able to kind of topple enemies over. I think, I'm not sure if we saw that in some of the Gem Live demos, but you can definitely stun them over and, kind of get them when they're down, which is the best thing ever.
Okay, so one thing I saw when you were running around, like just two real quick ones, when you jumped off a huge cliff, you didn't seem to take any falling damage. And so is that true? And can you swim in the game?
You can swim in the game. I think in the very first part of the game that we see, there's a little body of water that you can go across, and you're also able to. Your second question was fall damage. Currently, there is no fall damage taken. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be final spec, but yeah, right now, in the demo we saw Elma letting us know that you never have to take one path in the game. Obviously, like Xenoblade Chronicles, it's all about non-linearity. You can go off on your own. So we could have taken the land bridge to go across, or jump off the cliff and hop down.
Do you recover life automatically outside of battle the same way in Xenoblade Chronicles?
Yes, you will.
All right, so that about wraps it up. Now, again, it's a 2015 title. We'll probably see more about it later in the end of the year. I want to thank you very much for conducting this interview, and if there's anything else you want to say about the game, feel free to shoot me now.
Cool. No, we're super pumped for it. Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii was one of my favorite games on that console, and I cannot wait to experience kind of the world of Planet Mira and what it has to offer.
All right, thank you very much. We're looking forward to the game, and I'll be hopefully seeing you at many more E3s to come.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Matt.